Coming up on Carolina News, sweeping voting legislation is making its way through Congress. We'll be live at the State House with what South Carolina Republicans think of the bill.
And how to get your vaccine.
If you come with me on this journey, I'll show you how you can get vaccinated with only your basic information and your insurance card.
And get ready for corn dogs and funnel cakes. The drive-through state fair is back, but only for a few days.
How long you have to stop by to get some of your fried favorites. All that and more coming up on Carolina News.
From the University of South Carolina, your news, your sports, your weather. Carolina News begins now.
Hello and welcome to Carolina News. I'm Connor Lomas.
Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm Megan Carter. Sweeping legislation is making its way through Congress that would expand Americans' access to voting.
Yeah, and that's right. The For the People Act passed the House and is on its way to Senate, but many GOP lawmakers are speaking out against the bill.
That bill includes Governor Henry McMaster and Senator Lindsey Graham. Ward Jollis is live at the State House, where the two held a press conference just hours ago. Ward?
In and of itself, the bill is pretty simple. What it does is it expands voter registration to more people and makes it easier for more Americans to vote. But today, GOP Senator Lindsey Graham and Governor Henry McMaster are speaking out against the bill, saying that it gives too much power to the federal government and to the Democratic Party.
But this bill, H.R. 1, threatens the constitutional sovereignty of the state of South Carolina. Now, those are not just words. That's very important.
The South Carolina GOP speaking out today against House Bill H.R. 1, also known as the For the People Act 2021. The 750-page legislation's primary goals are to make it easier for people to register to vote, make voting faster and more convenient, restore voting rights for former felons, end partisan gerrymandering, and increase election security. And the bill has widespread support from voters. A recent poll from Data for Progress shows over 2/3 of all voters are in support of the bill. But the bill's bad news for many Republicans.
This, to me, is a very serious attempt to alter the balance of power, to centralize in the federal government a voting system that's ripe for fraud at the expense of every American who wants to vote fairly.
GOP officials who typically benefit from gerrymandering and stricter voting laws say the lengthy legislation is nothing more than a partisan power grab, which could have wide-ranging implications in somewhere like South Carolina.
This is the biggest power grab in modern American history, being pushed by the most radical people in modern American history.
And of course, because places like Georgia are receiving increasing national attention because of their stricter voting laws, some GOP lawmakers are getting worried that sweeping voter legislation like H.R. 1 could pass through Congress fairly quickly. Reporting outside of the State House, Ward Jollis, Carolina News.
Thanks, Ward. Lawmakers are under pressure at the State House before a key legislative deadline on Thursday. The deadline makes it harder to take up issues with a lot of opposition. Any bill that passes their House or Senate after the deadline has to get a 2/3 vote in the other chamber. A few bills that they are trying to pass: the hate crimes bill in the House and a Senate bill allowing medical marijuana.
Well, Megan, we are having a beautiful day here in Columbia.
Yep, it feels great out there, and our Peter Vance is live to tell us how the weather is outside.
It's beautiful out here right now. The sun is beating down. I can barely look up. We've got people over to my left playing catch, enjoying this nice weather. The clear skies are not here to stick around. We will be getting some clouds, but those warmer temperatures are here to stay. So it's some great news for you all. Back to you for now.
Thanks, Peter. One Columbia Mall is set to become the latest mass vaccination site in the area. The Columbia Place Mall on Two Notch Road will start giving out the vaccine next Wednesday. It's part of a partnership between the White House and the state of South Carolina. The site was chosen based off multiple factors, including socioeconomic status. They are set to give out 1,000 shots a day.
With more people eligible to get vaccinated, you may be wondering how you can register for a vaccine. With 3 different vaccines and many different healthcare providers carrying vaccines, the process can be daunting.
Yes, it can, but our own Dylan Leatherwood wanted to take a look at how to register, at least for one healthcare provider, in a step-by-step tutorial. Dylan is breaking down how to get vaccinated with Prisma Health.
If you come with me on this journey, I'll show you how you can get vaccinated with only your basic information and your insurance card. Today, we're going to schedule our COVID-19 vaccine through Prisma Health. After loading their website, click on My Chart. We're starting from scratch with no activation code. From there, create a Prisma account with just your basic information. With our account created, it's time to schedule our appointment. Click on Menu and click on COVID-19 Vaccine Scheduling. This is your chance to pick the time and location of your vaccine appointment. For this next part, you will need a physical copy of your insurance card. Prisma needs the information and a front and back picture of the card. After that, you can save these settings to make the second dose even easier to schedule. After you make sure you have your license, the only thing left is to hit the road. As we navigate the cones, my heart's racing. I'm not a fan of needles, however, it ended up being painless.
Pretty bad arm soreness tomorrow, okay? It's gonna kind of feel like somebody's hauled off and punched you real good in the arm, okay?
Okay.
Some people experience flu-like symptoms, but not very many. And you're all set.
Oh, that was easy.
See?
Kayla Harby, a volunteer for the National Guard, says the paperwork can get a little tedious, but overall, the system is very user-friendly.
It seems like it's run pretty smoothly and all the registers really know what they're doing. So that's really cool. Like all the registers I've worked with are like super amazing.
Now that I got my card, it's time for the easiest part of all.
Make sure you drink plenty of fluids today, stay hydrated, and eat some food, okay?
You don't have to tell me twice. On the move for Carolina News, I'm Dylan Leatherwood.
Dylan was able to register and get vaccinated in the same day, and the entire process only took about 30 minutes.
If you would like to schedule a vaccine appointment or have any questions or concerns about the vaccine, you can visit DHEC's or Prisma Health's website to learn more.
Here in South Carolina, all people over the age of 16 are eligible to get the vaccine, and now President Biden wants the rest of the country to catch up sooner than expected. The president just announced that every adult will be able to get the COVID vaccine by April 19th. That's 2 weeks earlier than the past deadline of the 1st. Right now, all states have opened up eligibility or have announced they plan on it by the end of the month. For nearly a year now, sports stadiums have been piping in crowd noise, but they didn't need to outside Dallas last night. Take a look at this. The Texas Rangers played in front of a sold-out crowd. It was the most people to fill a stadium in the U.S. since the pandemic began, with over 38,000 fans in attendance. This comes after Texas Governor Greg Abbott lifted all restrictions in the state.
Yeah, I for one think those crowds are wild to see after a year of empty stadiums. How's it going? I'm your sports anchor, Ethan Still. Governor Abbott was set to throw out the first pitch at that Rangers game, but declined after the MLB decided to move the All-Star game from Atlanta. That decision was made after Georgia passed a bill that many say limits voting rights. But now the game has a new home, Denver, Colorado. It's set to be played at Coors Field, home of the Rockies, and the last time the team hosted the All-Star game was in 1998. And the excitement for baseball is growing here in Columbia as well. The Fireflies announced their schedule for the upcoming season early this week, and today they announced an updated seating and logistical protocols. Due to the pandemic, the Fireflies have not played a game in over a year. Lawrence Thompson has more on the much-anticipated season.
It's been a long time since the capital city has seen their minor league baseball team, the Columbia Fireflies, take the field. The Kansas City Royal Low A affiliate has not played a baseball game since September 1st of 2019. Broadcast and Media Relations Manager John Kosis Jr. says the wait has been long, but he's excited to get back to some baseball.
It was really tough, and if I'm being completely honest, I moved here in February of last year to become the broadcaster for the Fireflies. So I moved here now 14 months ago, and I have yet to call a Fireflies game. I'm really excited to call one as the broadcaster of the Columbia Fireflies, and that's coming up in less than a month now.
These games are bringing tons of excitement not only throughout the organization, but for the Columbia area, and Kosis Jr. says that influence is important.
Is the sense of community that we get here in the Midlands, what the impact of what a Fireflies game and having fans out here supporting the community and seeing everything that Columbia has to offer. I think that sense of camaraderie is really important.
With games starting in about a month, business will start to pick up around the area, but specifically here at Segra Park. Fans will finally be able to see some baseball.
I'm pumped. It's been way too long. I mean, we didn't have an entire last season, so I can't wait for this season of the Fireflies to start back up.
The Fireflies announced ticketing and other updates on policies and procedures, allowing 50% capacity to start the season with the maximum of 5,000 fans at Segra Park. Still not what fans are used to, but baseball is back nonetheless. Lawrence Thompson, Carolina News.
Tickets will be on sale starting April 27th at Segra Park, or you can go to fireflytickets.com.
Thanks, Ethan. We'll see you a little bit later in the show. But coming up next on Carolina News, well, it's been something that everyone's been talking about, and it's the reason that my voice sounds terrible.
Oh yeah, that's right. Why there's so much pollen in the air and why it's worse than most years.
Welcome back. The prosecution is taking aim at the defense in the trial of Derek Chauvin. Chauvin's lawyers argue that he was following department policy. Yesterday, the Minneapolis police chief took the stand. He says that Chauvin's actions violated the department's use of force policy as well as de-escalation policies.
It is not part of our training, and it is certainly not part of our ethics or our values.
This is the second week of witness testimony. Chauvin has pled not guilty to all charges in the death of George Floyd. A South Carolina sheriff says an international investigation has cleared deputies who shot and killed an armed man that they were trying to arrest in February. Greenville County Sheriff Hobart Lewis said that all 6 deputies at the scene have been cleared in the death of 39-year-old William Clayton Blackwell. The department says that Blackwell was pointing a rifle at deputies when the authorities fired back. The state law enforcement division is still conducting its own investigation.
A Lexington mother was sentenced this morning to 38 years in jail for the killing of her 4-year-old daughter. 28-year-old Cynthia Estrada Lopez pled guilty to homicide by child abuse in the murder of Lily Lopez. First responders found Lily unresponsive on the living room floor. Lily was pronounced dead after the arrival at Lexington Medical Center, where there was evidence of child abuse and neglect. Now, Sumter County deputies are searching for 2 missing sisters. Zoe and Chloe Tyner left their home in Oswego Highway at about 1 a.m. last night. Investigators say they believe the girls may have run away from home. Anyone who knows where Zoe and Chloe may be are urged to call 911 or Crime Stoppers. Coughing, sneezing, having a runny nose, and going through tons of tissues have been a case for many residents in Columbia due to the high pollen levels this season.
Our Colin Spiker found out how people felt about the record high pollen count.
The pollen levels are the highest Columbia has seen in 3 years, and residents aren't happy about it.
Pissed off. I don't want to have to take medicine to not feel like death.
Pissed off. Oh my gosh.
They really suck.
I am so mad.
A high pollen count is considered to be 9.7 grains of pollen in a cubic meter of air or higher. Columbia has only seen 6 days with lower than 9.6 so far this year. Dr. Oscar Lovelace says the wet winter has increased those levels.
Number one, it's been a wet year. Things are going to start blooming and growing a little faster.
Emily Haglund, a sophomore at the University of South Carolina, can tell a difference in her allergies.
Yeah, they've been bad for as long as I can remember, but especially this season, they're pretty bad, so.
With the nice weather, more people are starting to come outside to hang out or do work. But doing work while outside can be difficult with the pollen. After sitting outside and knocking out some work for 15 minutes, there's pollen on my screen, but even more, there's pollen on the table. For out-of-state students, the pollen levels have caught many off guard. Eva Fay, a student from Philadelphia, said that the amount of pollen is making her allergies worse.
We have pollen issues, I would say, but not to this extent. I've never, when you walk outside, there's pollen everywhere. There's pollen on cars, everywhere in puddles even. And seeing all of that, I realized that all my allergies were acting up because of all the pollen.
Dr. Lovelace suggests over-the-counter nasal steroids such as Zyrtec. For Carolina News, I'm Colin Spiker.
Pollen is the worst, but speaking of what's in the air, the spring weather is finally starting to stick around.
Yeah, hey, Anna Austin, are these temperatures sticking around?
I do not want to come inside because it is such a nice day. The sun is shining. It's the perfect temperature to spend some time outside. I'll have more though on what to expect for the rest of your week after the break. Welcome back to Carolina News. Currently in Columbia, it's sunny with a warm temperature of 82, humidity not so bad only at 56%, and winds are moving east at 5 miles per hour. Looking at our temperatures currently in Columbia, like I said, a warm 82 degrees. Up in the upstate, we're getting a little bit chillier in the lower 80s, and down towards the coast, Myrtle Beach is cooler than Columbia at 74, Charleston at 82, and Hilton Head at 79. Now looking at tonight's lows, a little chilly, but not as cold as we were seeing last week. Columbia is at 55 degrees, going into the upstate, not too much cooler, with Greenville at 54 and Rock Hill also at 54. Going towards the coast, a little bit warmer. Down in Myrtle Beach, the low is going to be 57. Charleston also 57, and Hilton Head at 58. Looking at tomorrow's highs, we're going to see a very warm day tomorrow in Columbia with a high of 87. In the upstate, low 80s, Greenville at 84, Rock Hill at 84. And down towards the coast, Myrtle Beach and Charleston, a little bit cooler. Myrtle Beach is only going to sit at 79, and Charleston at 83, and Hilton Head at 81. The record low for tomorrow is 29 degrees, and we're definitely not going to see that temperature anytime soon. Now for our 5-day forecast. Today, like I said, sunny, high of 85 and a low of 54. Today and tomorrow are going to be your pool days, so if you're planning on getting out, go ahead and get out there. Tomorrow or Wednesday is going to be mostly sunny with a high of 87 and a low of 58. Thursday is when we're going to start seeing some clouds, partly cloudy with a high of 84 and a low of 61. Heading into your weekend, we're going to have some thunderstorms. Friday, some scattered storms with a high of 81. And going into Saturday, we're going to see thunderstorms and a high of 83. Back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Anna Austin. Coming up on Carolina News, all the latest in the world of sports. One former Gamecock is going pro in her hometown, and of course, we'll take a look at last night's national championship game. Stick around. Welcome back to Carolina News. Last night marked the end of March Madness as Baylor and Gonzaga faced off in the Natty. I happened to be winning our bracket group in the newsroom heading into last night with my man in the control room, Karan Alston, right behind me. I had Gonzaga and he took Baylor, so needless to say, Karan was pretty happy after about 2 minutes of game time. Baylor took off from the jump and the Zags would never catch up, losing by double digits for nearly the whole game. Baylor would take home their first men's basketball national title, and Karan would take home all of the newsroom's money. After taking the series against UGA over the weekend, 9th-ranked Gamecock baseball is back in action tonight as they take on UNC. They'll look to follow up Sunday's monster game from the plate by Brady Allen, who had 2 home runs, as well as a stellar pitching day by Will Sanders. Tonight's game will take place at Truist Field in Charlotte, with first pitch at 7 p.m., and you can watch on SEC Network. Moving over to the soccer pitch, one former Gamecock has made her way into the pros. The Chicago Red Stars announced their roster for the upcoming season, and 2019 graduate Tatum Milazzo earned a spot at defender. Milazzo won 3 SEC championships in her time at Carolina and was a starter on the 2017 College Cup team. She will begin her professional career, this Friday as the Red Stars take on the Houston Dash, becoming the 12th active Gamecock on professional rosters. The Carolina Panthers made waves yesterday, adding a well-known quarterback to their roster. Sam Darnold, former New York Jets starter, is headed to Charlotte. The Panthers are giving up draft stock in the trade, sending a 2nd, 4th, and 6th round pick to the Jets. After the announcement, the Panthers took Twitter by storm by spoofing the infamous Monday Night Football graphic about Darnold. The original announced that he was out because of mono, but Carolina turned the video into a jersey swap, saying he's instead out of New York. Sticking with the Panthers, but switching sports, the Florida Panthers are in the Carolinas tonight as they are taking on the Carolina Hurricanes. The Canes continue their 8-game homestand tonight at 7 p.m. after splitting their weekend series against the Dallas Stars. Carolina currently has the 6th most points in the league, but Florida, tied for first, has won 7 straight. You can catch that game on 99.9 The Fan, Bally Sports South, or the Bally Sports app. And to wrap things up, the MLB is back, and so are fans mocking the Houston Astros. Last night, a Dodgers fan snuck in an inflatable trash can, which he then blew up and threw into the outfield. This, of course, is referencing the cheating scandal surrounding the Astros, where they stole signs and alerted batters by banging on trash cans, all while defeating the Dodgers in the 2017 World Series. And guys, I think with the season getting canceled last season, we really missed the Astros shame tour across the country. And as a non-Astros fans, I'm here for the fans giving them some heckling.
Oh man, I agree with you. Fans are ruthless in baseball, but I'm here for it.
Coming up next on Carolina News, the State Fair is back. Well, kind of.
Oh yeah, that's right. The food you can drive through and grab right after the break.
Finally, on Carolina News at 4, some of the newsroom ladies and I got to go to the state fair today. My favorite part of the South Carolina Fair is back in town, the food. Until April 11th, you have the chance to get some of the staple foods of the state fair. Pick a lane and order a funnel cake, candy apples, popcorn, corn dogs, and my personal favorite, fried Oreos, right from your car. They are open right across from Willie B at the State House grounds from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. The State Fair decided to bring it back after all the success they had last fall.
Yeah, I love fried Oreos. They make my stomach hurt a little bit, but I'll put some down if I have to.
Anna Austin is in the weather in the studio. Tell us, what's your favorite state food?
I'm with you guys. My favorite is fried Oreos, and I will be going to get some this weekend. But like I said, if you're getting out this weekend, if you're going to get out this week outside, make it this week, because going into your weekend, we're going to see some scattered storms on Friday, and on Saturday, we're going to see even more storms. This week, we're going to have a high tomorrow of 87, so make tomorrow your pool day if you're planning on getting outside. Back to you in the studio.
That's all the time we have today. Thank you so much for being with us.
See you tomorrow, and tune in at 4:30.